Rachel says, there's so many things about Judaism I treasure as part of my heritage. Many of the laws, like family purity laws, I think are very useful. The issue I struggle with is to believe the laws of the Torah and rabbinic law are actually from God. That makes it much harder to follow them in a disciplined manner. The Reform and conservative congregations are too lefty for me to feel comfortable, and Orthodox settings don't feel right either, since our beliefs just aren't in line with the Orthodox worldview. My husband and I feel spiritually homeless. We're not sure what to do. We're expecting our child in late September. We want to avoid passing on this spiritual crisis to her. What are your suggestions? Well, my view is Aristotelian and Maimonidean, and that is you practice, and then the belief comes later. What I mean by that is that if you believe in a sort of natural law perspective, right, you believe that family purity laws are good because they actually foster family well-being, and you believe that the family structures that are posited by Orthodox Judaism, if that's the right structure, and it's the right structure because it follows in line with evolutionary biology and human reason, and that traditional wisdom passed on over the course of thousands of years is very productive, you do have to start asking questions like, why is that traditional wisdom so good? What about it makes it so good? And if you believe that there is a creator to the universe who made us capable of understanding the universe such that we could actually establish cultures in line with the necessities of natural law, there is a godly element to that. So I'd start from that grain, right? When it comes to whether you're Christian or whether you're Jewish or whether you're Muslim, when it comes to the question of revelation, what that really means to me is that at a certain point you will have to take a leap of faith. And revelation is by necessity a faith-based proposition. If it were not, then you wouldn't have to have it. Revelation is the idea that God speaks to humanity in certain miraculous ways, whether it is God on Sinai if you're Jewish, or whether it is Jesus walking amongst us if you're a Christian, or whether it is Muhammad giving prophecy if you're a Muslim. Whatever your system of revelation, that inherently acknowledges that there is a gap between humanity and understanding of the universe that cannot be bridged without God reaching down to us. So the real question that you should ask yourself is not sort of the doctrinal question of how do I believe something that requires a faith-based leap. It's an informed leap of faith. Right? That's what I would say, is that there's no way to escape the leap of faith. There's no way to escape the question of this seems counterintuitive, this seems not linked with reason, the idea that God breaks the natural system and speaks directly to human beings, right? That because you haven't seen it happen to you, for example. But the other reality is that you cannot live a life rooted in any sort of principle unless you also take that leap of faith. Right? There are people I'm friends with, people like Sam Harris, who believe that you can create an entire moral construction without that leap of faith. I don't believe that's true. I think you're going to have to make certain assumptions about the universe that are faith-based leaps. And so it doesn't seem to me like revelation is the dumbest leap of faith. It seems like the dumbest leap of faith to me is to suggest that human beings are capable of understanding aught about the universe, that what you ought to do, a moral law in the universe from just evolutionary biology, which doesn't even suggest inherent human worth. That's a bigger leap of faith to me. And given human history's ability by human beings to rationalize the worst sort of predations against one another, it seems to me a lot more unrealistic to hope that human beings are going to be able to use, quote unquote, their natural reason to divine purposes in the universe without some sort of leap of faith suggesting that there's a linkage between the universe and how your mind works, and that linkage is made by God himself.